Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com. And by Hog Island Audubon Camp. For full camp schedule, program details, and to register, visit hogisland.audubon.org.
Good morning, or whenever you're listening. Welcome to our show, number 1063. We just had a common raven calling from right outside our studio window. I think that's a good omen, although I'm not sure. On today's show, we'll get the word on a great, famous, important annual event now underway all across the U.S. and Canada called Project FeederWatch. Plus, more avian insight from the Birdwatchers General Store's Mike O'Connor. And now, speaking of Canada, the audio postcard that we meant to air last week. It's from Sarah way up near Hudson Bay.
Hello, Ray Brown. This is Sarah Gates calling from Opinagow Lake in very northern Ontario, just south of Polar Bear Provincial Park. The rain just let up, and so the birds have started back up singing. Swainson's thrush in the background. There was a northern water thrush, yellow warbler. There's the northern water thrush. So it's been a real privilege being up here, participating in the 5th year of the 3rd Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas. It's the 7th of 8th day. We've paddled the length of the lake, which is about 40 kilometers, and have done point count traverses 3 squares, collecting breeding bird evidence, so recording all that we're seeing and hearing. Highlights have been a fair amount of red-throated loons, Canada jays, northern water thrushes, so this is where they live. Black poles. I just had a boreal chickadee coming in around camp, and Canada jays have been on most of our traverses. Hope you're enjoying the sounds, and hope you're keeping well. Bye.
Bye, Sarah. Did you catch that? 40 kilometers of paddling across the lake. Quite an effort. Well, thank you, Sarah. We have room for more audio postcards from wherever you're looking for birds. To make an audio postcard, just grab a smartphone or other digital device and record what you're seeing or hearing. A little description there, and then email the file to ray@talkingbirds.com. There's no G in talking still. ray@talkingbirds.com. That's our mystery bird. As you may have guessed, if you have been listening to the show for a while, we do a mystery bird contest every week, and we give clues early on in the show to get you ready for it. Our mystery bird could be said to lack focus and commitment. In other words, it's a dabbler. Although it does make occasional dives in deeper water, it's larger than a crow, smaller than a goose, with a dark brown body and a pale brown head. Males have a yellow bill. Females' bills are a dull olive color. It feeds on seeds, stems, grain, aquatic plants, insects, crustaceans, mollusks, small fish. Our bird is found pretty much all over the eastern half of North America. Breeding populations up in northern Quebec and some year-round in New England. Wintering grounds from the mid-Atlantic states to Iowa and Arkansas. Some info there on our mystery bird, which is kind of, by the way, one of those sort of misnamed birds. Mystery bird contest coming along a bit later. Meanwhile, another salute to another Talking Birds ambassador. Thank you to Stephen Wheelock from Miami, Florida. Stephen says, quote, Talking Birds covers everything about birding, so teaches and informs. I never tire out from watching birds, even the ones I see daily. They always have something interesting going on. Birding teaches one to observe and challenges your memory, something I need to work on. Those special times when you spot a new bird are really exciting. End quote. Thank you, Stephen, for joining up as a Talking Birds ambassador from Miami. Well, as we mentioned last week, we're on a special push to reach a new ambassador's family milestone. Our goal is to welcome our 1,000th member by the end of December. Will we make it? We'll see. We're happy to report, though, and grateful to know that listeners have really been responding to this special effort. And we're asking all Talkin' Birds listeners who'd like to help us spread the word about the wonder of birds and the importance of conservation to join our ambassadors family now during this special year-end effort. Joining up is easy. Being an ambassador is easy. We send you a little batch of our beautiful green Talkin' Birds cards, and you hand them out at your convenience to friends and neighbors or anyone you think might like to know about the show and would like to support birds and conservation. So under the Get Involved tab at talkinbirds.com is where to sign up. No G in talking. That's the Get Involved tab at the top of the homepage at talkinbirds.com. And from all of us here, thank you. Still to come today, we'll talk with Dr. Olivia Sanderfoot. She's the new leader of Project FeederWatch, through which you can provide important data to scientists while watching birds in your backyard. Also today, Mike O'Connor will feed us some fascinating feather facts in our Let's Ask Mike segment. And up next, it's today's featured feathered friend, presented by the Bigger and Better BWD magazine, with each large format issue packed with beautiful photographs, illustrations, and in-depth articles ranging from backyard birds to birding abroad. Experience birds up close with BWD at bwdmagazine.com. Today's featured feathered friend used to be known as the Louisiana heron. But in 1984, Louisiana lost out on that nomenclature connection, not because it couldn't afford the naming rights, but because what was then the American Ornithologists Union, which gets to decide birds' names, changed the bird's common name to tricolored heron to better reflect its three plumage colors of white, bluish-gray, and lavender. The white stripe down the middle of its long, curving neck and its white belly help distinguish it from other dark herons. Tricolored herons are bigger than snowy egrets, smaller than great blue herons, and are often described as delicate-looking. Their diet consists mostly of small fish, but also includes other prey items, including crustaceans, amphibians, insects, and snails. It often feeds by standing or wading in belly-deep water, or by crouching and stalking in shallows. In addition to Louisiana, the tricolored heron is found in southeastern New Mexico and Texas, along the Gulf Coast through Florida, and north along the Atlantic coast, sometimes as far up as southern Maine. Meanwhile, Louisiana still has one bird name connection, sort of. There is such a thing as a New Orleans pelican, but it's a player for the local pro basketball team. The tricolored heron, Egretta tricolor. Today's Talkin' Birds featured feathered friend. Welcome again to our show number 1063. The Cornell Lab of Ornithology's Dr. Olivia Sanderfoot is the new project leader of Project FeederWatch. She's followed on from the great Emma Gregg, who sadly passed away last December. Well, as many Talkin' Birds listeners know, Project FeederWatch is a joint venture of the Cornell Lab and Birds Canada, in which folks from all over the U.S. and Canada observe birds in their backyards or at nature centers, community areas, other places, and provide important data from those observations to scientists to help them track bird population trends. It began on November 1st and will continue until April 30th. Olivia Sanderfoot joins us now to tell us about what I believe is the 39th annual Project FeederWatch, and she is nodding, so I got that right. Good morning, Olivia.
Good morning.
Thanks for being on with us to tell us about this. I think it's pretty cool to think that backyard birders can really contribute to science and ultimately to helping birds. So for those who are new to the project, tell us how it works for participants.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. And I'm so excited to take on this role. I recognize I've very big shoes to fill, and I hope that I do the leadership of this program justice. So here's how it works. We welcome anybody and everybody to the program. You're welcome to participate whether you're a longtime birder or you're new to birding. We'd love to have you on our team. You pick a count site. We like to think of this as a place that is personally meaningful to you and easily accessible during the winter time. This might be your backyard, your front yard, a nature center that you frequent. And you pick 2 consecutive days to count birds at that site. So I pick my backyard and I choose to count over the weekend. So I pick Saturday and Sunday as my 2 consecutive days. We ask you to keep track of the maximum number of individuals of each species that you observe simultaneously. So if on day 1, I see at most 3 black-capped chickadees at any one time, and on day 2, I see at most 2, I would record 3 because 3 was the highest number I observed at any one time over the course of those 2 days. You record all of your data in a checklist format. We have a mobile app to support data collection. We also have an online data entry platform for those who don't want to use their mobile device. And that's it. You've contributed data. Ideally, you would do this once a week. So I do my counts every Saturday and Sunday. But even if you did it one time, that would be incredibly valuable. The timing is flexible. You can count birds for as little or as long as you'd like over those 2-day count periods. And you're welcome to do this all winter long or just for a week or 2 to give it a try. All of that data goes to our database, and we use that information to track wintertime bird populations in the U.S. and Canada.
Right. Well, that is very flexible indeed, choosing time, location, even really the amount of time you spend watching. I know the answer to this question, but isn't it the case you must have a bird feeder to be part of Project FeederWatch?
That is such a good question. So, no, you do not have to have a feeder. There are lots of different ways that we feed birds, right? So historically, yes, most participants in Project FeederWatch have had 1 or more bird feeders at their residence. That's the classic story of a feeder watcher. I put up a feeder in my front yard and I monitor birds at my feeder. But we're trying to expand the notion of what bird feeding means. It's not just about putting out bird seed. It's about providing bird-friendly habitats, about planting bird-friendly gardens and planting native species to support our local birds. So as long as we are including count sites where there are resources provided by birds, we're all set. So from our perspective, really any place where we are putting out food or water or plantings that birds can use, that counts. What we don't count in our tallies are birds that fly over a site. So if you see crows passing over your count site, they're not interacting with the habitat or resources that we're providing for birds, so we don't include them in the FeederWatch counts. But if a bird lands on your feeder or is it interacting with your garden, we would count that bird in our tallies.
That counts. Well, given all the flexibility involved, I think people might wonder, how is it possible to get valid data from the observations?
Yes, that is such a good question. So I'm trained in quantitative ecology, and so that means that my background is all about using big data sets to answer questions in ecology at large spatial and temporal scales. And yes, we have a lot of data, but we also have a lot of differences across that data, right? So you just mentioned some folks have feeders, some folks don't. Some folks might go birding for an hour. Some folks might bird for 3 hours a day. But when you have this much data, and this is really the power of participatory science, we can use these very cool models to account for all of that variation. And I can include effects in my model that account for the facts that people bird in different places at different times for different durations. And it's just a really exciting thing about participatory science. We get all this cool data and then we can extract insight from it because we can account for all this variation.
Just in the time we have left, I wanted to mention the fact that you are a researcher whose work has focused on the effects of wildfire smoke on the health and behavior of birds. And you've described Project FeederWatch as a useful tool in understanding the effects of smoke and fire disturbance impact on birds. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So I've focused most of my academic career on understanding how wildfire smoke disturbance is impacting birds. And most of this research has focused on summer and fall smoke events out in the western U.S. However, we are seeing fires occur more frequently and earlier in the year in places like California. We actually think about the fire season as being more year-round now. And in fact, some of the largest fires that we've seen here in the United States have actually taken place during the winter time. Fires in December are some of the largest on record in Colorado. We've seen really large fires in November and December and January in California. And so we have FeederWatch, which is a wintertime monitoring program, which historically hasn't been considered a resource for fire ecologists, but that's really changing as the landscape around fire changes. So I am really eager to use this data set to learn more about how birds respond to fire and smoke disturbance. We can use FeederWatch data to understand how birds are disrupted by fire in places, how they might be responding to smoke exposure, and then how they move back into those places after the fire has been put out and the smoke has blown away. No one's used this data set in this kind of context before, and I'm really excited to bring that expertise to this program and start thinking about integrative and interdisciplinary solutions to learning more about how these emerging stressors are impacting birds.
Give the website for signing up here. What did want to ask about a fee? There's a small fee involved. Do you want to mention about that?
Yes, participants are asked to pay a small $18 fee upon signing up. This fee goes to support our programming. There are also some added value components to the program that participants receive. So we send you a printed calendar to help you keep track of your counting days, posters of common birds seen in the U.S. and Canada, as well as additional giveaways. However, I would just like to emphasize that we never want the $18 fee to be a barrier for participants. Please know that if you cannot afford the $18, just email our team and we're happy to work something out, especially for first-time feeder watchers. But that fee does go to support all of the research here at FeederWatch and help us monitor birds and protect our feathered friends.
All right, more flexibility there. Dr. Olivia Sanderfoot is the project leader for Project FeederWatch, open to all who would like to make some important contributions to science while watching birds. Find out more and to join up, go to feederwatch.org. That's feederwatch.org. Olivia, thanks for the chat and best wishes for a great FeederWatch season.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and happy birding.
Happy birding. That was Olivia Sanderfoot here on Talking Birds. And up next, it's our Mystery Bird Contest in just 1 minute.
The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4-VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com.
All right, there's that mystery bird again. Whole flock of them there. A mystery bird that's a dabbler, but sometimes dives in deeper water. Size-wise, bigger than a crow, smaller than a goose, with a dark brown body and a pale brown head. Males have a yellow bill. Females' bills are a dull olive color. Our bird feeds on seeds and stems and grain and aquatic plants and insects and crustaceans and mollusks and small fish. It's found pretty much all over the eastern half of North America, with breeding populations up into northern Quebec and some year-round in New England. Wintering grounds extend from the mid-Atlantic states to Iowa and Arkansas. So some clues there, the sound of our mystery bird. And as we mentioned earlier, we have two wonderful prizes, one to make you look and feel good, and one to inform and entertain you. From Plain Products, that's Plain with an E, whose mission is to provide clean, sustainable products in reusable aluminum bottles, not plastic, good for both your body and the planet. It's a 4-part travel set: shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and body lotion. Plus a 1-year subscription to the great birding magazine BWD, now back and bigger than ever and better than ever with each large format issue, packed with beautiful photographs, illustrations, and in-depth articles by renowned experts. like Julie Zickafoos and many others. So that's our package here on our Mystery Bird contest, and the thing now is to invite you to call and tell us what you think the bird is. A guess may reveal you as a winner nonetheless, even if it's not correct, because we'll do a drawing from answers received. So here's the all-important phone number, 781-837-4900. Please call us right now if you can, because time is short. That number again, 781-837-4900. Meanwhile, let's ask Mike, almost live from the archive in just 1 minute.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
Well, this is pretty exciting. Mike O'Connor there at the Birdwatchers General Store. We have checked with on his topic here, and he says it's about bird tales. And we love stories, so this ought to be just terrific. Good morning, Mike.
That's right. Gather around the fire, kids. We have some bird tales to discuss today.
I know I got the spelling wrong here. Debbie is here with us to correct me on that, but I still got it wrong. It's really Tails, right?
Yeah, it's a little different, right?
Okay.
Sometimes it's the technicality, but it is a difference going on there.
Yeah, small thing.
Bird tails.
Yeah, bird tails.
Sometimes you get birds. Birds, I guess most birds are famous for their tails. It's certainly part of their anatomy. And, certain times of year they might be missing. A lot of times it's due to molting, but this time of year, late in the year, you might see a bird without a tail. A customer had a picture of a mourning dove, and, it looked like a sweet potato because it was like the tail was totally missing. And people wonder if the birds are okay, will they be able to fly and survive without their tail? And the answer to that is certainly yes. The birds don't need their tail at all for flying. It really depends upon their wings. And usually this time of year, a lot of times they lose their tail from a predator attack. Something tries to grab them, maybe a fox or something, and the tail feathers come out rather easily. Like those lizards, when you grab the tail and the lizard goes running away, and you end up with a hunk of tail that was the same thing. It's kind of a way for them to escape. Remember back when you were starting quarterback for the Rhode Island School of Broadcasting, and you had that tearaway jersey, so you'd always score the touchdown.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, our team, the Fumblers. Yeah, we were awesome. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. It helps them get away. But fortunately, the tails grow back fairly quickly. Depending on the health of the bird, it might be as short as 2 weeks where the tail comes back. If it's a good, healthy bird, it might take a little longer if they don't have enough nutrition. But the tail is important for birds, and depending on the species, certainly hawks and larger birds use the tail for soaring, or they flare it out when they're trying to land. It's kind of like an air brake for them when they go to land. A lot of birds use it for balance. Songbirds, particularly when they land on a branch, they use that tail as kind of a counterbalance. They also use it for displaying. Some birds have a tail that really helps them attract the mate, but the rest of the time they're almost in the way. I think peacock comes to mind. I think a lot of times these birds would be better off without such elaborate tails.
The hummingbirds, too, with the crazy tails there.
Yeah, the hummingbirds' tails, they use those for, again, display. When they're angry or they're trying to attract a female, they flare it out. Like you'll see most time hummingbirds look like a blur, but then you slow it down and those tails flare out, and they've got a lot of red and white and colors on the edge that they flare out. And I think one of the birds that probably uses it the most for survival are the woodpeckers. The woodpeckers, their tails are stiffer, and they push them against the trunk of the tree so the birds can rear back. I'm actually demonstrating this right now, but you probably can't see it.
Camera 3, get it close up on that.
Yeah. So they lean against the tree with their stiff tails so they can hammer into the tree. And so they would definitely need a tail to grow back. And then for mating, you get the Wilson snipe, right? They have that little funky edging on their tail, so when they flutter around...
That winnowing thing.
Correct, yeah. So tails are important, but they grow back unless there's some kind of damage. Mm-hmm. They'll grow back and they'll be fine. They're just a little funky for a few days, but other than that, they'll grow back.
All right, well, thank you for that info, Mike. Next time, Mike will tell us why birds never have their tails in front.
More research.
Thank you, Mike.
You got it.
Mike O'Connor there at the famous Birdwatchers General Store on Cape Cod. That is in Massachusetts. And our mystery bird is going to be here one more time. We just play a little short little bit of it here. It's our mystery bird. It's a dabbler, larger than a crow, smaller than a goose. And we want to know what it is. 781-837-4900 is the number to call. And we have Claire in Easton, Massachusetts. And I'm not dropping an R there. It's Easton, E-A-S-T-O-N. Good morning, Claire.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, Claire?
I'm good.
Good. We have given you the clues and played the sound of our bird and explained the prizes and all that. And now it would be your turn, Claire, to see if you can tell us what that bird is.
My guess is a cormorant.
A cormorant? No, not a cormorant, no. But we don't want to let you go that easily. Did you hear the quacking sound? That was kind of a big...
Well, yeah.
Well,
I thought it was a duck, but then the more description, the more details you gave, I said it must be a cormorant.
It sounded like it was not a duck. I'll tell you what, we'll give you one more hint here, because now that you've zeroed in on it a little bit, think of this bird as being described as a very, very dark color. Would that come on? I mean, a really dark color.
Raven?
No, I'm just asking for the color there, not the bird. Just the color of this. Quack, quack. You know what I mean?
Black.
Black, and then what would
brown?
No, you've got the color, but what would the other part be? Quack, quack. You remember that part? Black.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Well, you almost had it there, but we're going to flip the cards because you went through so much there. The bird we were looking for was the American black duck, is what it was there. But yeah. I'll tell you what. You know what we can do though. We'll do a bonus question here. What do you think about that?
Okay.
We'll do a bonus question and see how that works out. Here we go. Birders in Riverhead, New York, on Long Island, were recently treated to a rare bird sighting. A bird that's been reported in North America only a handful of times. Massachusetts in 1981, California in 2012, Lieu de Blanc Sablon, Quebec, Canada, 2013, and Rhode Island in 2020.
I did read about this, but now I can't remember what the bird was.
All right, we'll give you some help. It is really kind of an if you know question. But what is this bird? A European robin. B, a Eurasian blackcap. C, a common cuckoo. Which one of those is it, Claire?
I think cuckoo.
Common cuckoo would be the answer on that. Is absolutely right. Yes.
Right.
I knew you'd come through, Claire. The common cuckoo, a widespread migrant to Europe and Asia, winters in Africa, infamous as a brood parasite that lays its eggs in the nest of other bird species, and famous as the bird that inspired the sound of the cuckoo clock. That's actually the bird, not the clock. Stay on the line, Claire, and we'll take care of all that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we're out of time. To our amazing Talking Birds team, Debbie Bleacher, Freya McGregor, and our producing engineer, Jesse Wilkins. I'm Ray Brown. See you next week.
The Bird Show. I like that.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com. And by Hog Island Audubon Camp. For full camp schedule, program details, and to register, Visit hogisland.audubon.org.